Don't think I can.
Big to low.
Don't think I can lay this down. This will be the biggest flame out in high stakes history. Or it'll be absolutely brilliant.
Well, there you hear Jason Calacanis waxing poetic with middle set, talking to himself. He's in a weird spot. You're going to see that this is a very difficult spot for Jason. This is a really interesting, weird hand.
Now, you may not know who Jason Calacanis is. He's an internet gazillionaire, so now you know.
That's a number.
Obviously, that's Doyle Brunson and Abe Mosseri sitting on either side of him. Those guys are legit, and this is a super tough spot in just your basic poker stars cash game.
Right. Now, Jason Calacanis has a ton of money, but he wants to be right here,
Yes.
which makes it very interesting, and that's probably why Gaka63 and Jeffrey Rudzuski suggested it on Twitter.
It probably is. Now, if you have a hand you'd like to suggest for the breakdown, just tweet it at us and include a YouTube link and a timestamp.
Do that, but you know what else you should do? You should support the people who support us, and that's Nitrogen Sports Poker Room. They made this video possible, and they're also an awesome poker site.
We have a tournament coming up on Saturday. That's right, Super Bowl Saturday. It's 1/10 of a millimeter to buy in. That's like $1.10, and there's a huge overlay. It's 1,000 times your buy-in overlay. There are not going to be 1,000 players. Last time there were 65.
Yeah.
It's an incredible deal. You have to get in there, but you got to use the link in the description when you sign up to even be able to see the tournament.
You want to be able to see the tournament, right?
I mean, I want to be able to see
Nitrogen has a bunch of other great stuff you can do. You can bet on the Super Bowl there, by the way.
Yes,
Make
by
sure you
the
use
way.
the link for that. We
Please.
definitely want you to do that.
We'd like you to do that.
Yeah, it's just a great site. Check it out. Now, let's get to the hand.
1,200.
Action folds around to Abe Mosseri, who raises. Pocket tens for Jason Calacanis. Calls.
1,200's bet.
Daniel's out. Doyle's in. Makes the call. Jack 10 offsuit,
Calacanis got the best hand going into the flop.
which is 9 Jack 10, a monster flop.
Expect to see a lot of action here. Doyle checks his top two.
Abe bets 3,000.
He's got a flush draw and a gut shot.
And a set for Calacanis,
Raise.
announcing a raise to 13,000.
I like this raise. This board is sopping wet. He's going to want to try to protect his set. Doyle should be suspicious of a raise coming from an amateur. Tough for him to get away from top two.
Where is it?
Doyle announcing a re-raise to $83,000.
Doyle's drawing very slim. He must be putting both his opponents on draws. He's right on one count. Abe is drawing.
Come on, we did it 3 times, Abe.
Good, huh?
Abe has to know he's behind at the moment. He's not getting great odds. He's got to commit all of his chips. He's not even drawing to the nuts. Calacanis is shuffling chips like he's drinking Adderall-flavored coffee. You know, Abe's only got 4,200 invested in this pot. He has no fold equity because Doyle's essentially moved all in.
All right, I'm all in.
Moves in anyway. This is a crazy move from Abe. Someone could easily have ace-10 of hearts or something like that.
You got more than 83?
No, probably not. I don't think so.
Whether he thinks he's ahead or behind, I'm sure Doyle would have rather Abe folded.
Wow.
Even though Jason has the best hand, the way the betting went, Abe and Doyle are both representing absolute monsters.
Don't think I can.
Big to low.
Don't think I can lay this down. This will be the biggest flame out in high stakes history. Or it'll be absolutely brilliant.
I'm glad to see he's stalling. Don't you tell us what his snap calls?
Somebody have a set of jacks here? And somebody have a straight already? And queen already? This will be a sick laydown.
Sounds like 3 9s.
Wow. This is ridiculous if I lay this down.
Remember, Calacanis has already stuck 100 dimes to Doyle.
Somebody must have flopped a straight.
Jason shows his hand, but it's not dead. This is a cash game.
You think you're gonna pick something up off of us by showing us the hand and telling us what you got?
No,
right.
I just was looking for some sympathy, actually. But apparently I'm not going to get any.
He folds.
Wow.
He had me crushed.
You had me crushed too.
You fold that, Daniel?
What'd you have? You don't have ace-10 of hearts, do you?
No.
Good.
Oh, my God.
2 pair and
Oh, my God. Please, I got
now
it.
you want to see a heart, right?
Well, how many times do you want to run this?
3's good.
Let's run it 2. Let's run it 2 for simplicity.
It's up to you. I'd never argue about that.
Well, I know it's gonna be hard for you. It's gonna be hard for you to make a full house now.
You guys doing it twice, right?
Twice.
For the love of God, let it be a flush and a full house.
Tough spot.
Flush and a straight. Okay. For the love of God.
No, flush and a full house is what I'd like to see.
You want a jack? You want a jack to come on one, so you can feel real good about that.
I actually feel kind of bad about this for some reason. I don't know.
Because you feel bad about getting him out of the pot?
I don't know.
Yeah, thanks, Doyle.
No, I mean, I feel bad about the results.
I feel terrible about the results so far.
Abe has held over me too long.
Oh, stop it. You've held over me.
Yeah, right. Boom.
First run, 4 of diamonds.
One more blank, then it won't be so painful. Boom. Yeah.
Abe makes a flush.
That's the boom.
Thank you, God.
Just like I figured.
I had the same hand come up on a TV cash game show. I had the set of 10s. I folded. One guy had a bigger set, and one guy had the straight.
Wait, didn't you just criticize my fold?
It wasn't these players, and it wasn't this situation.
Wait, you do it? Oh, that was such a bad play?
It was definitely, it's one of those decisions where either way, it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
It's like if you fold, it's fine. If you call, it's fine.
Good for Doyle anyways. Sucked for me.
I'm feeling pretty good about it right now.
I give us the queen of clubs.
Second run,
Queen of clubs?
Yeah.
All right.
makes Doyle a full house.
Ooh.
It'll be a split pot.
Trying to get your money back on the third one.
I would be leaving right now.
Clearly, we're here to talk about this fold by Jason Calacanis. This fold seems insane upon first inspection, especially when you can see his opponent's hands. That doesn't look very good on TV. I'm sure he feels very happy that both runouts would have had him lose. That at least adds a little bit of happiness to his life, but he's like a billionaire. He doesn't care about the money. He cares about the prestige.
Yeah.
So is this prestigious? Is this the right fold? That's what we have to figure out.
I'll say this, upon first inspection, I thought it was a terrible fold.
You
I
sure
thought
did.
It had to be a mistake. But then we talked about it on our podcast, of course known as The Breakdown presented by the Poker Guys. I gotta say, I really came around on this one. I think this is probably a good fold by Jason Calacanis.
I still think it's close, but I think it might be good. Now, we know against these two hands, it is a bad fold.
Right.
If these hands were face up, for sure it's a bad fold. Now, of course, there's a lot of table talk between Brunson and Mosseri, and that may lead him to want to call more frequently if they're being honest, but you can't really trust that those guys are being honest. Those guys are top pros. You don't really know what's going on with them.
Absolutely. I mean, their job is to eat up whales, honestly. Yeah. Calacanis is the whale at this table for sure. I don't think at all, based on Abe Mosseri shrugging after Doyle says we can run it 3 times and putting it in, means that necessarily that Abe really has the kind of hand that he has, although it does this time.
Right. So Mosseri could easily have the nut straight. And worst for Calacanis, Mosseri could easily have a set of jacks, and that could have him completely destroyed.
Yeah, the real problem here is not so much that Mosseri can have top set, which of course is a problem.
Right.
But that alone is not a good enough reason to fold.
No, definitely not.
Middle set here, for sure. And not even the fact that someone can have a straight. It's the combination of hands you'd have to be up against, though, that is a problem. For example, if Doyle has a 2-pair hand, like he has, and Mosseri has a straight, you're kind of screwed if you're Calacanis.
If Doyle has 2-pair, it blocks so much of our equity. That means, especially if Doyle has Jack-10, that means that Jack has us drawing dead, by the way.
That's really bad.
So 9-10 is bad enough, but Jack-10 and Jack-9 are horrible for us as Calacanis if Doyle has that and Mosseri has a straight, because then we're both up against a straight, and the board pairs are not only limited, but some of them make Doyle win. That means we don't nearly have enough equity to call here.
The other thing is this. Mosseri is the one who gets it in. He sort of calls all in, a huge all in.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily expect him to have this kind of combo draw, just a straight king high with nothing else. Now, from Mosseri's point of view, we understand why he's doing it.
Yeah.
He actually thinks they are going to run it multiple times, and indeed they do, so he doesn't care as much. He's also a big game cash player. He probably
He's like,
doesn't care so much. Whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people are going to fold this hand up against this much action, even though it's a combo draw, because it doesn't have any true showdownable value at this point.
Right, so if Calacanis isn't in complete jail that we described, most of the time Mosseri is going to have something like ace-queen of hearts, something like that with like a ton of equity anyway. And in those spots, sure, in those in a vacuum spots, Calacanis is supposed to call if Doyle has 2 pair. But we can't know that that's what Mosseri has. Mosseri clearly has straights in his range. He clearly has top set in his range. It's a problem.
It is a huge problem. And what are you supposed to do? I mean, here's the thing. Calacanis is absolutely an amateur. I'm sure he'd be happy to tell you that too. He's an internet zillionaire. That's his job, right? These other guys' job is to play poker. So in a vacuum, not like thinking deeply about it, Calacanis is probably supposed to find calls in these spots generally.
Yes.
Because if you're up against really, really good players, you just shouldn't fold really big hands, right? You should just fold. If you're near the top of your range, you just shouldn't fold and not worry about it.
Here's the question.
Yes.
Is he near the top of his range?
Well, that's an interesting question. We actually thought about this and talked about what hands is Calacanis going to raise after Mosseri bets, and when it comes back to him in this spot, that he isn't going to sort of insta-fold because he was messing around. What hands of his like value range? We actually found pocket tens was exactly in the middle. So exactly in the middle kind of still puts you like in a, what to do spot.
It's a 50-50 spot, and if you can imagine all of the scenarios that we're in, nobody has a 1-pair hand here. That is clear. That's never happening, right? Mosseri never has pocket aces and decides to get in with Doyle after Calacanis already raises. Doyle never has ace-jack and decides to play it like this.
Not after Calacanis raises.
Doesn't happen. So the only types of hands we're against are 2 pairs, sets, combo draws, and straights. And that combination of things just isn't enough to call with the middle of our range here.
Right. I mean, even if Doyle has a combo draw, then what is Mosseri getting it in with? I guess you could pray he's got pocket nines, because it's possible that combo is out there, just like this combo is out there, right? The combo draw in 2 pair. But so often someone has a straight and someone else has 2 pair or something like that, and you're just in trouble.
You're in real trouble. And the really interesting thing about this is that just having a 1 pip better hand, a set of jacks, might be enough to make it a call, because that means the 2-pair hands can't ever make us draw dead. It makes it less frequent that we're up against 2-pair hands based on the types of 2-pair hands people can have. It's just an interesting spot where we're at that exact spot where maybe we're supposed to fold.
The other thing that's great about having top set, besides having top set, which is pretty great, is it means your opponents can have middle set and bottom set. You can root for that versus just bottom set, which is where we are right now.
I think this is maybe a good fold by Calacanis.
I think it actually is a good fold. It's crazy to think about. It seems impossible. Turns out it, at the time, wasn't, although, you know, looking at the results, he's happy he did it. We're sure. But yeah, I think this is probably the correct fold, as crazy as it seems.
Seems insane.
I almost never fold middle set, I'll tell you that. So Calacanis would have somehow lost both runouts there. Maybe they would have run it 3 times, though, if there were 3 players in. Who knows? They would have gotten his money back. But either way, the question really remains, is this ultimately a good fold or not? Grant and I have come around to thinking this is probably a good fold. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. We're looking forward to seeing what you have to say.
It's interesting that it's instructive that he would have lost both runouts, that even if you're in the dream scenario like he happened to be with the hands he was against, you can still end up losing. You know, that's part of the decision, right?
Yeah, of course it is. That's called a bad beat, son.
It is, yes, thank you, Father.
You're welcome.
If you want to see more Doyle Brunson hands, by the way, you should definitely check out our Doyle Brunson playlist by clicking right up here. We had a lot to say about what Doyle did in our podcast also.
Yes, it's called The Breakdown, presented by the Poker Guys. It's a 45-minute podcast where we spent the entire time just breaking down these decisions. Actually, not just the Calacanis decision, but like Grant's saying, Doyle's decision to move in with 2-pair in this spot when Calacanis raises, we think is questionable at best. Although it does work out well for Doyle. He does end up making money on the hand. So definitely check that out as well.
Check that out, and if you like this video, make sure you subscribe.